There we go. Simply having.
Simply.
Happy Soccer Mom Sunday on Christmas Eve, which if you're like in my house, there's a lot of colorful language being dropped because we're not done with stuff.
Well, and if you're listening to us at this point, it's because the noise and chaos is just overbearing. You're in the basement with headphones on, so we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. Exactly. We hope you enjoy this while you're last minute wrapping. And rest assured, we've recorded this, but I'm doing the same thing. Or I like to do, like air traffic controller because George doesn't do shit when it comes to getting gifts. So I get the things and then I tell him, here and wrap it.
Well, let me ask you a very, very technical question.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Amazon Prime?
Yes. That's how I did it. That's how I did it. But it's like, the thought that goes into it too. And then I try to set a budget-ish because it looks really different. Like Harper's 7, so hers don't cost as much. But then Marin, my 15-year-old, gives me her list. I'm like, I can afford 2 of those. What are you doing? So I'm looking at a budget, and she gets 2. And Harper has questions because she still believes in the magic and is like, why does Santa hate my siblings?
I still believe in the magic, and I wonder why Santa hates Kansas soccer.
Yeah. You just can't not. You just can't.
No, once an episode, gotta get.
You are definitely on the naughty list for that.
It's kind of a status quo at this point.
So yes, holiday time, and then I'm thinking like the next Soccer Mom Sunday, it'll be New Year's Eve. And that could be that's a different listening experience depending on where you are and what you're doing.
Way more loaded.
It's going to be great.
With content is what I meant to say.
Loaded with content. That's the way I took it. I'm currently loading with content here at Mellow Mushroom Sunset Hills. I'm not going to tell you what time of day it is, but I do have a cider, and it's awesome.
Well, the sun's been up for a while, so you're safe.
It's been fine. It's fine. I already had a coffee on the day.
It's all good. I mean, it's legal. It's legal in most states.
I'm 50, so it's more than legal for me.
Holidays. What are holidays like in the Gansner Siess world? Is it you have 4 siblings? How many siblings? How many kids?
Yeah, so 4. Yeah, so George is the oldest of 4. I'm also the oldest of 4. And we have people that are out of town. And his family, his dad has passed, so they'll see his mom, but on like different days, right? They don't do like a day. My sister hosts Christmas for our side and kind of brings in her in-laws and it's kind of like, come. If you want to eat, come at this time. And then if there are presents to be had. Honestly, it's a repeat of Thanksgiving.
What's more
Thanksgiving with presents.
At those parties? Is it the presents, is it the food, or is it the booze? Like if you had to rank them, what do people look forward to the most?
Well, if it's me, it's mimosas. So Cynthia and I do mimosas all day, and JJ, her husband, one of my best friends, is very, very actually too good at making sure. Do you know, like you have the bottomless drink, like it never ends. You have to be really careful because
penny pitchers.
Yes, if he sees your glass like halfway up, it goes, and then but before you know it, you're like, I've only had 2. It's like 24 times. It's so right. Yeah. But the food is really good too, and mostly we like to make fun of our kids. Share kids. Our kids are dumb stories. Our kid. Whose kid's dumber?
Yeah.
Kind of like who's had dumber moments, which is usually one of mine.
Or stitches. Stitch count. Do you have the annual stitch count?
Stitch count.
Who wins?
And then who falls asleep first.
I get it.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
So we disappear.
That's what happens on the Illinois side.
Well, so my side of the family is exponentially small at this point, so we don't have a lot of things to go and do. My wife's side, Kim, they always did it earlier. Christmas Eve was always their day, so that Christmas Day go to both grandparents, and the kids didn't have to give up their toys first thing in the morning to travel around all day.
Yeah, I hate that part.
So we just, with my parents gone, and not really kind of an anchor on my side, we years ago decided that the big jolly guy would buy us plane tickets, all of us, instead of piles of shit that they're going to return in 2 months.
Oh, so, nice.
So that's what we do. So this year, at the time of this release, we are somewhere up in the Pacific Northwest, disappearing, and that's what we do.
Are you like an Airbnb person, or
yes, totally.
Like just get a secluded place, something you're all your own.
Yeah, we're gonna bounce around a little bit this year. So like 4 days in 3 different areas.
Nice.
Get out, and then we do. There's 5 of us in the immediate. We each draw a name on Christmas Eve, and everybody gets $50. Go find the gift and buy the wrapping.
That's cool.
And the next day, that's what we do.
That's cool. I like that, and it's fun to. So mine are still young. Like my oldest is 17, and like he and my 15-year-old are starting to change a little bit what they look forward to. The 12-year-old's kind of the same. 7-year-old's definitely like the stuff we're used to. But I'm realizing as you say that, as they transition to older, there will be a transition probably that happens in how we celebrate it.
Well, so my youngest is 10, and my oldest is 18.
Yes, you've got that same gap.
So we've been doing it for a year. So the first year we started doing it, the 10-year-old, and Beckett at that time was, 6, 7. We ended up Harry Potter, Universal, right? Went down there. So they were like totally blown away, like, holy shit, this is Hogwarts. And we did all that stuff on Christmas Day, like literally.
On the day.
Came downstairs, like we went all out the first year to like try and make it
the
Christmassy, right? So 4:30 wake up call on Christmas morning. Ooh. The boys were all like, "What the hell?" And there was not a lot of packages. They each got a soccer kit, and in their stocking was the plane ticket.
So you left that day.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So we were like,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but then the years since. We typically rotate between urban entertainment to rural, tropical, whatever. So we've been all over the place. And
that's cool.
And moral of the story is this, like, Max was not old enough to know when we first started doing this. And a couple years back, we come back after the holiday to re-meet up and open up all the gifts from the extended family. And he was maybe 6, 7 or so. And we just came back from Costa Rica. And I remember just watching him as all the piers were opening. He just sat there watching them, wondering what they were going to get. He didn't care about his gifts. And I texted my wife from across the room. I'm like, it worked. He doesn't care. And it's been one of those things, like, as a family for us, it's been extremely valuable because it's not stuff.
Yeah.
It's been great.
And I look forward to that too. I still have stuff. It's just the older they get, the more expensive the stuff is. So they have fewer stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I'm not saying that we make out ahead.
No,
but living the soccer life, realistically,
for sure.
When do you go on vacations?
Right.
When is your time off?
Well. So I won't listen to this out loud on Christmas Eve with my kids because my 2 youngest ones will be surprised with a. Oh, I'm going to sound like a Grinch. I don't want to do this gift, but we're going to do it. They're Disney. Shoot me now. Liam has a trip at the end of January for the E64 League. So this ties into soccer. That E64 League, they're going to go play in Orlando. And George is not wrong. When your 7-year-old calls you out in a little essay and tells her teacher that, unlike her siblings, and that's a direct quote, she has not been to Disney, nor has she touched the sands of a beach. I'm like, oh God!
I'm surprised they didn't call DCFS.
I'm serious. She and then she came home proudly presented that to us, and I was like, oh, like gut punch. I forgot. Like we kind of thought we were done with Liam, so we did the thing, and I didn't really ever want to do it again. And
you should have taken her to Holiday World.
Shit. So,
Indiana.
She would know.
Welcome to the indoor beach.
That girl would know. And so we're going to do it. So they're going to get Marin, my older girl's going to help me. She's like, we'll print something on Canva. It's going to look great. And I'm like, thank God. But I even asked, I told George, I'm like, do I have to go? You can go. Yeah. You like doing these? He's like, you got to go. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Who says that, though? I don't want to go to Disney. I do not want to go to Disney.
I think it's one of those things that God invented drugs, and there's ways to cope. Yeah, happy holidays, everybody.
Here's a segue to our next guest.
We're promoting
Disney and drugs.
those little gummy bears travel.
Well, if I hadn't said it already before, because I got off track, we're recording here at Mellow Mushroom in Sunset Hills, which means my kids are so happy because they're like, and you're going to order pizza?
Lunch.
I'm like, yes. And I'm going to also eat some pizza before I bring it home for all you little turds. Eat it all in a sitting and then fight over who has the number of pieces, because that's how we do. There's 4 of them. And I'm not really sure
but
who
most
eats
pizzas
more.
are cut into even numbers.
Yeah, they lie. So
See, I grew up with 2 brothers, so there's 3 of us, 8 pieces of pizza.
Yeah, what'd
do
you
the
do?
math.
Did
Somebody
you fight
loses.
rock, paper, scissors,
Hell
or what?
yeah.
Or just who
I
eat
was
it
the
first?
oldest. I mean, I let them like Hunger Games their way to the extra.
Who's gonna fight for this piece of pepperoni?
Right.
You get one, and I licked it.
All right,
So
guest time.
Guest time. We welcome in Christie Jones Gabel. Although, it's funny, Christie, because you always just say Gabel. When you talk about your husband, you're like, and Gabel did this. Like, you just go full on last name with Jim. Hi.
That's usually easier.
Yeah, it's usually when you're mad. You're like, or when you're telling me something stupid he did.
It may have started when I was mad, and then it just stuck with Gable.
You're like, and Gabel did this. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, Jim effed up.
yeah, it's just Gable.
Hi, Jim. How you doing? So thanks for being on. And I think we've talked about this before, JB, is like we have a wide variety of guests on the show, right? We've had people who played at a much higher level than I even did, or coached at different levels and crazy, involvement in the game. And then we also have people who, like, I'm pointing at her, guilty as charged, or like, I don't know, why would you want me on the show? I'm like, because you have a great perspective and a point of view. Kelly Nelson. When her podcast drops, and Marcella, I love Marcella Balboa, and she's trending with the same numbers, I mean, it's because she's got
she
things
beat
that
'em.
people want. She beat them. Won, Kelly
by a
Nelson.
lot.
You won, Kelly. Sorry, Marcelo. Marcelo's a great dude. But like there are stories and perspectives that are not heard. And so I'm happy to have you on to have yours.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
we were just, I'm sorry.
Well, no, let's get this out of the way. Drink of choice on Christmas Eve. What do you do? What do you? Are you a Bailey's and coffee? Are you a mimosa? Are you just straight up bourbon? Or are you just like
we're kind of
seltzer-esque?
that well-rounded family.
You
We
are
start-
Prosecco. So
start
this
with
woman has
Prosecco.
more Prosecco in her. Like, she's always like, I got another one. I'm like, how many bottles do you have?
Well, and Jen knows because she partakes with me.
What? No,
Yeah.
me?
But it's usually wine. The boys do Manhattans. It's usually wine, Prosecco, and then we end the evening with coffee and Bailey's, a dessert of some sort with Bailey's.
You end the evening with coffee?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Seems like
Decaf with Bailey's.
Oh.
Because it's more about the Bailey's
like a
than
treat.
it is the coffee.
It's like a treat.
Yeah.
And then how many are around the table tree?
So
You got
it's
your
funny,
big
I was
crew?
listening to you guys chatting because my family is not from here. My mom and dad were both born and raised on the East Coast, so I have huge sets of, my mom's family is small, my dad's family is huge, from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We got here when I was little, and so I'm the youngest of 7, so we're a blended family, but we're not all here either. So I have a brother here and 2 sisters here. And then we just have, out of all 7 of us, there's only 2 of us on my side of the family that had kids. So, and my niece and nephew are officially now in New York on Broadway. So we are hoping, I hope 2 of them will be here. Both of them will be here this Christmas. So it's a smaller group, but we were fortunate that Jim's family does Christmas Eve, and we always did Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So we don't do the running around like I hear a lot of
If I
other
could go
people
back in
do.
time, I would change that. I would somehow be like, you're not doing that. Just figure out.
Just pick a day.
Just pick a day.
It's
and then just tell people next year I'll catch you, or change something, because that I hated that. I hated
It's a
running around
lot.
like that.
And like you were talking about before, when you've got kids in sports and you're running 24/7, you're exhausted.
No, you legit know as a friend. Like we're
Oh,
friends,
yeah.
and I like when you say you've been out. I don't know what it's for. It could be soccer, likely is. It could be holidays. Could be both. Sometimes people do both. Isn't that there's a over the Christmas holiday or New Year? There's always a tournament in Florida, I believe. At Worldwide, I'm gonna get the name of George went there to referee once.
Yeah.
But there's like over the holidays tournaments as well, where people say, I'm gonna do that rather than the traditional. they leave and do that stuff.
So the kids then at this time, because they're all athletes as well, do you guys like cherish the off time, or are they like my middle one in particular? He gets so anxious when they're on break, like he doesn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
Do they can't wait for training to start? Are they playing indoor, or are they cool with the downtime?
My kids they're probably cool with the downtime, to be honest. Delaney will still do like the indoor, the holiday classic, things like that.
Beta holiday classic.
The holiday classic.
I still wish, do they still have the final on New Year's Day?
Yes.
Okay,
Which
that
is
needs,
also
can we
my
change
husband-
that? Can we
which
just
is
do it at
also my
like 3
husband's
o'clock
birthday.
or even 5 o'clock on the night?
I know.
Because then it makes you not want to win.
Well, and
I'd wanna win.
It's Gabel's birthday that day, too.
Yeah, and it's
so
Jim's birthday.
we have a lot going on.
There's a
within that
hair.
time.
It's called Hair of the Dog birthday with Jim Gabel.
Jeez.
Probably
Well,
at
your husband knows
Sports
that.
Pub Oakville, which we have recorded at.
Yeah.
Usually is the place where people are like, let's just continue from last night. We'll feel better by 2 o'clock.
Yeah. But Logan really he appreciates the downtime. He's my kid who can keep going and going and going, but when you give him the downtime, he values the downtime.
Okay, so let's go back because holiday talk is fun, but this is Soccer Mom Sunday at Mellow Mushroom Sunset Hills, and this episode will be on Christmas Eve, like we talked about, with people doing whatever they do to get ready for the next day, I'm sure various stages of the day. But I know, you and I know each other from our kids,
Yeah.
right? So our boys our oldest boys are the same age. They went to school together. They played soccer together. And then our daughters, who are 15 now, know each other, played together. I've had the privilege to coach them, even worked with Dee on some of the mindset portion. But you and yourself as an athlete in your own right, not only, so we'll get to the swimming part in just a bit, but there's some soccer you need to share because you obviously know the game. You know the game in general. You know what it is like to play. And you've got a slow-boat catchatory story that you need to tell. They remind me of
my
this
God,
story
that's so funny.
and how you were playing and how this even occurred.
Well, so I actually started playing soccer to give myself a break from the pool.
From the swimming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was swimming 6 days a week, 3 of those days, 2 times a day. I was always in the pool. So I was getting burnout. My mom was like, okay, what do you want to do? Because my sisters will tell you they knew the days that I didn't swim because I was the kid that had so much energy. I had to be doing something. So I started playing soccer. And actually, if I was in a position where I had gotten involved with soccer before swimming, I probably would have stayed with soccer. I loved the team camaraderie. I loved the sport. But I did it more for fun and staying busy. But we had a tournament because back then, the Steamers, it was the big thing. And there was a tournament and we were able to do like an exhibition game before the Steamers played in the arena.
Oh my God.
And I want to say, I'm trying to remember how old I was. I was probably middle school,
Okay.
I guess. And I'm pretty competitive.
No, none at all.
And I was a left winger and had a really, really nice shot before this game. And I ended up coming into the corner, was on their end.
The corner of the boards.
Yes. And of course,
The deadly corner in indoor.
deadly corner of the boards, and popped the ball off the boards and went to and caught up with their defender and was trying to get around her. And of course, my whole body went one way and my foot stayed the other because she was on my foot. And so when I turned, I heard like 3 or 4 pops and I was like, oh, this is not good. And ended up falling and thought, okay, I can get up, and then tried to get on it and there was no way. So I had actually broken my foot before and I knew it, but didn't do anything about it. Of course, that's my brother and a whole nother conversation. But so I had re-broken it, and I had ultimately 3 or 4 hairline fractures and broke 2 toes all at the same time.
Oh my God.
So it was brutal. Well, I mean, I wanted the ball. So
You gotta go all out at the checker dome.
right? Well, and then of course, now they've got the trainers coming out. I'm sure my mom was pretty used to me getting injured, but they got to find my parents. Their trainers, Steamers trainers, are taking me off the field, and I disappear underneath the field, into the tunnels, and they got to find my mom and dad.
Bye, Mom. Going to the locker room.
Yeah, they got to find my mom and dad. That was a whole big thing. And when they met my parents in the trainer's room, of course they're wanting them to sign all the medical liability and all that. And I know my mom's first thought was, oh my God, is she okay? And then she took a peek into the training facility and she was like, oh Jesus, she's fine. So I was with Slobo and Jeff Cacciatore.
Who were checking on you.
They were checking on me, and of course the rest of my team.
They were pulling the Busch beers out of the trash can of ice.
Yes.
So you could put your leg in.
Yes. And of course the rest of my team had to come in and check on me.
Yeah, they needed to be there for their teammate.
Yeah. And so, my brother always used to give me so much trouble because he used to call Jeff Cacciatore chicken. He's like, oh, you meant chicken? And I'm like, all the time because I was little.
I'm sure Jeff Cacciatore never heard that joke.
Of course. But I mean, I was in heaven. I thought breaking my foot was the best thing ever because that was the highlight of the game. So,
Speaking of competition, but you mentioned you broke it before.
I did.
And you have a brother.
I do. God, I love my brother. I'm always been competitive, but I am really competitive with him. Like, I hate losing anything to my brother, but
Who's the older?
He is.
He's the older. By how much?
3 years.
Got it.
So we were just throwing, he wanted me to throw the ball back and forth with him on the side of the house. So, we were throwing I was catching him and baseball because he played, and he was a really, really good baseball player. But I didn't have any shoes on, and he kept throwing grounders at me. And I'm like, knock it off. And he's like, all right, we're done. My mom, of course, starts hearing us.
Right.
She's like, okay,
stop.
you guys are done. You guys are done. You're done. So I throw one more at him. And of course, and he's pissed. So he throws one more at me, and it hit one of our landscape rocks and came flying up onto my foot and hit me in the side of the foot, and it cracked my...
And he's the doctor now?
He's an ER doctor.
Of course, foreshadowing. We call that foreshadowing.
There's been a few times he's seen me come in there too. So, it's a family tradition.
So the competitiveness, Jen mentioned it earlier, your athletic primary focus as a child and up into teen and beyond was swimming.
Yes.
And my question to you is, because we're going to get into your kids here in a second and their path and playing soccer and their focus and levels, etc. But you mentioned playing soccer after being a swimmer primarily, and you thought you might have gone the other way if that would have been the case. But speak to the mental side of swimming, of individual sports, and swimming in particular, because you're underwater. You don't hear a lot. It's you're in your own bubble. What was that like, having competed at a high level, and then comparing and contrasting that to a team sport where communication is critical versus, in essence, a nearly silent sport?
It is a nearly silent sport. And, the swimmers out there, I mean, swimming came natural for me. So, and I've been in it since I was 3. But it was a lot of burnout too, because the mental part of that can take a toll, especially when you don't have a team effort. It's you and that's it. So I feel like it shaped me a lot to handle adversity, to be able to not always negative and sabotage talk yourself, because if you do that, you're not going to get anywhere anyway. But as relating to my kids, I put them in swim lessons just because I'm a firm believer you need to be comfortable enough with the water to respect the water and understand how your body handles in water. But I never wanted to put them in unless they loved it. I never wanted to put them in that sport because it's tough. The highlight of my seasons were probably when I did get into high school, because it's more of a team sport when you get into high school. But literally, the majority of my growing up, I was swimming in meets 42 weekends out of the year.
Whoa.
I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. I don't regret it, but
And swim meets are long.
they're very long.
Because my kids just did it, like, just for the club.
They're very long.
Because we were like, you're getting out of bed, which was a really stupid move because they're young and I had to also then get out of bed. That was dumb. I'm not doing that again. It was great for their fitness, and I loved they had fun with it. But then, like, I was at my first meet, and I was like, this is bullshit. Like, at least with a game, I know when it's over. I never knew when this meet was going to end. Mm-hmm. And they're I will say the tried and true swim parents, they were so great because I did I didn't know how to write the stupid heats on their arm, and I didn't know how to do any of that, how they know where they're supposed to be. My kids came and some nice parent would take out their permanent marker and show them what to do. But I was just like 3.5, 4 hours later, I'm like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah. It's a lot. And it's other than relays, it's all you. It's you and the time, and that's it. And it's, you got to be okay with yourself for how often you do it.
And you
when
don't
you're
hear
not,
your coach, right? Like, if you're,
Yeah,
I'm thinking, can you hear him?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can figure out the coaches. You hear the whistling. You hear, like, they're in tune with when you're breathing, when you're not breathing. You can hear it. I could hear my coach from a mile away.
He also made you swim with a hockey puck on your head.
Yes,
you told
he
me.
did. Yes, he did. My mom read almost half a book waiting for me to get done with what he
And that was after you had done the meet, right? You had done a
That
meet.
was after 2 hours of practice.
2 hours. I thought you
Yeah.
smashed somebody at a meet maybe recently,
No,
but
this
you did not
was-
have good form. What was that story?
Yeah, so I was a backstroker, and I was getting pompous and lazy in his eyes. So you want your head to stay straight. You want your body to be like a turntable, like a swivel. And I was moving my head too much, and that's a tenth of a second for every single time you're moving your head. And he's like, we're going to break the habit because you're getting into the habit and you're not listening. So, I was like, yeah, okay, I got it. So I figured, okay, squeaked through that practice, and nope, out came the hockey puck, and he's like, you're going to do 200 yards with that hockey puck, and you're not going to lose it. And that was at Kennedy Rec Center, where now, we swam from like 6 to 8, 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning. They would open probably by 10:30 or 11. And just to give you an idea, I was still swimming when they were opening to the public. So he told my mom, did you bring a book or something? She's like, yeah. And he goes, keep reading.
You say soccer parents are hardcore. Who knew?
Go juggle till you hit 1,000. So introduce us to your kids. You have two.
Yes.
Boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little bit of the bio, the game card, age grade, team, so we can kind of set the table a little bit.
Yeah, so Logan is a senior at Vianney, and he is 17. He'll be 18 in March. Been playing since first grade. He plays for Mike Williams right
He
now
is
at
8 foot tall.
He is. He's officially, I think, 6'4". He may have gotten taller. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he just seems to be getting bigger, and I don't know. It's just weird. He's turning into a man, which is scary. Very scary. And then Delaney is a freshman. She's 15. She's a freshman in high school. She's at Oakville. Gave her the option to go private, and she made her choice on what she thought she was going to be, most comfortable for her. So I was really proud of her to be able to make the decisions and be good with that. And so she's also been started at Oakville United with George, Scott, and Jen, and she's at WC now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so Logan's come off his senior year.
Yeah.
So he's at Vianney, and I know that, soccer in your household, I have to remind myself that you were a swimmer, because I automatically tune in to the fact that you also played soccer, and then I forget you tell your swimming stories. I'm like, oh my God, right. Because your husband, Jim, also played soccer. He was a goalkeeper, what he likes to call a kamikaze goalkeeper, a little bit cray-cray, kind of a deal, and really invest into that part of the game, know the game, right? Like, the things when the kids are not only do you know your children, right? You know the game. You know if none of your kids are going to get by with coming off and telling you a load of BS because you're like, that's not how that was supposed to go. You know that part of a deal, but that, being from their path from, which is pretty common, at least in St. Louis, a path from CYC, and then you get to, those kids, you're kind of, sometimes you get beyond that competition there. You go club in a way, and then you go a little bit further there, and now they face going to high school. It was a part of Logan's journey, I know, to play in high school, and I know that was really important at Vianney for you guys to have, and for him to play in that part of that group and be a part of that community playing in high school soccer.
Yeah, it's been a great experience for him. So he's been playing for Coach Haddock since his sophomore year. He and Jack Madden both played their sophomore year, and I have to say we've watched those boys. They played against each other. We have at Vianney, the senior class, there are some St. Catherine and St. Margaret Mary.
Oh,
so those
no.
were die-hard city county.
Yeah, Queen,
Yeah.
St. Catherine, and SMMA were just like,
So glad we're on the same side right now than the opposite.
we're going to
side.
start this game with a prayer. We're
Right.
going to end it with a prayer for what we just did.
And a lot of prayers in between. So yeah, it's been a really great experience, especially coming out of COVID, because freshman year.
Oh, what a mess that was.
Yeah, he played for the sophomore team at Vianney, and for Coach Weber, and they probably got maybe 10, 11 games in, but it was a godsend because it gave him a transition and a love in getting more engaged with school when they couldn't do as much. So, but watching them senior year, it was we had 14 seniors, and just watching them as leaders and the way they gelled with their team, with the juniors. We had some sophomores on the team as well, and just to watch him become just a natural leader on the pitch was pretty cool.
We talk all the time on this show as well as Soccer Dad Pod about the ongoing permanent debate, it feels like, between club and high school and academy and exclusivity, et cetera, and kind of I want to get your take on this, because I was thinking about this in the last conversation I had with another individual, and they kind of pointed out, like, for us being high school, because they came from the high school camp, what we really need to focus on, what we are focusing on at their particular program, was really culture, experience, and he stated outright, our role in the pathway process has been diminished to the point where we're allowing the child and the family to drive that car a little bit, and then if they want our help, we will, because they feel like they can't battle with the clubs and the academies and GA, etc. And at first I was like, oh, that seems like a little bit of a cop-out. But then the more I thought about it, it's like, why can't a program lean into, we just want this to be a great experience. We will be competitive. You're coming in, you all play at Club and Fuse and Gallagher, whatever. But let's not make this something it's not. We're going to sell this experience. Through your child's path, do you feel like you guys balance those two things? His own, where he wanted to go, did he want to play college ball, and was the experience put on the pedestal equally, both at the school, for him individually, and for you guys as parents?
So are you referring to making the high school experience just being a great high school experience without taking all the other stuff into consideration?
Well, the expectation right now, the debate is, okay, well, if you play high school, then you don't have as good of a chance to go to college. And if you play club, well, then you're not going to get the experience, right?
The high school experience,
That's
right?
the fundamental argument
Yeah.
between the two. And I just think that, the high schools have such a tremendous opportunity to really lean into that culture side of it.
Sure.
How did you guys manage that, as he became more competitive and maybe started considering what's next after high school? Where did you guys land on that front?
Well, I will tell you, a lot of those conversations obviously start at home before they start at school.
Correct.
And but we've always had the open door that they have has been expressed to the boys at school that if you want that help, let us know, because the coaches will help navigate and help you navigate through that. But, just going back to the basic of the experience of what it's like to play with your friends and that connection that you get playing high school anything.
Right.
There is a lot. St. Louis is unique. There is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of, the stereotype of where you go to school and who you play for and, the stats everywhere and who's getting the accolades and who isn't. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of really good talent in this town. But for me personally and for our household, realistically, we had to look at, for Logan, what he wanted to do and what's going to happen after college. Like, if you pursue this for college, then what's next after that? And whether or not he had the drive, whether or not that was something he really, really wanted to do. And what we realized was he wants to experience the moments he's in right now.
Right.
And because if you keep talking about the rest of it, they're forgetting and they're not getting the experience of what it's like. And watching this particular squad that he had at Vianney was just special. They had a blast. The kids were at our house an awful lot through the season. So just watching the relationships and watching, those are lifelong friends. And most of those guys are never going to be on a pitch together as a team ever again. So for us, it was more important about cherishing those times because they're going to grow up and have all those pressures. And we kind of let him organically figure out what he wanted to do. I think right now it's the reality because we're still playing club. So we popped right out of high school season into club season. I think he had 3 or 4 days off before he was back on the field. And so Mike is kind of giving them a little bit of a break right now after we just got back this weekend. But, we had a long conversation with that too, saying, listen, you've never not had soccer. So I think you can put a lot more pressure on these kids. But, a high school experience, when it's done the right way, creates so much more for them moving forward than just the sport.
It's life lessons.
100%.
And I think I like I said, I was having the conversation the other day. It was just kind of like not an aha moment, but like, let's just give it more value. The life lessons.
100%.
Look, if you play D2, D1, you play academy, whatever, and you move up, or even if you play high school and you get scouted and you get a scholarship, you have 2, 3, 4 years of maybe playing. You're probably going to be on the bench year 1, right? Probably year 2, so you're looking at a short period of time, but that camaraderie, that's kind of an infinite lesson. So anyway, I'm just soapbox time.
Yeah, no, and it is. It's a common theme, and it doesn't matter who you talk to, whether you're talking to a club coach and you say, if it's a particular level team and they've got a particular goal in mind, that when the kids step away to play high school, even if they're at the best high school program, they can lose some team synergy that can look like. But then high school coaches, we've had Sarah Gunther on, who I know Delaney will try out for. She's awesome, and she had a really good perspective on it too. It's like, I've got this really finite period of time, unlike a club who kind of has them anymore year round, right? I've got this finite period of time to help these young ladies put something together that we're all proud of and come together. And I gotta have a lot of respect for that to your point, JB, I think there's a way everybody's really in their silos still at this point, and sees their own point of view very strongly. But if we can kind of look over, I wonder if these kind of programs could figure out how to work a little bit better together to make sure that in the end of the day, there is an athlete who, we can go to bed thinking what we want, but they've got to figure out decisions and be supported whichever way they decide to go in their game.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to my brother. My brother's he is still super close with high school friends, and we still talk about events and activities and meets, and he played water polo, and watching a lot of those matches. And
You guys were just
obviously-
water drawn,
yeah,
huh?
we were water drawn. And he, and I have to say, my brother was an amazing baseball player, but the minute he was amazing. But the politics that came with the sport kept him from playing in high school. And when I look at where Logan is from the time he got into high school to the friendships, all from playing soccer in high school.
Yep.
It's incredible. I mean, and we love these boys. They're great kids. And had he not had the high school experience playing in high school, he wouldn't have those friendships. So I think it's an important, you got to let them be kids and let them kind of figure out their environment.
So he's a senior. I know you guys are in the college
Yeah.
scouting process. Is soccer in his future at the next level, at a scholarship level, at a club level, or are you a little fearful that, oh my God, this might be coming to an end for yourself as well?
Oh, totally.
Where are you guys in the process?
Well, selfishly, we'd love to watch him play until, we're dead. Because it's just been such a huge, integral part of the family watching them. I mean, the joy that we get from watching him on the pitch is pretty cool. But we also had to listen to him. And so when it came to the college process, when you start looking at the type of money that and scholarship opportunities that these boys will have for this sport, which for me in particular is pretty unfortunate, what's not always available to them. It was really to try to find a place to play. Logan loves the sport, but he loves the team that he is within the sport. So to try to manipulate and maneuver playing in college and may end up at a university that would have never been in his radar simply because of soccer just wasn't appealing for him. So we're taking the education route and wanting to really look at avenues that he's going to be happy with, and with the intention that there are some great club teams with those universities so that you kind of get the best of both worlds and
Right.
and it doesn't become a job. So
Is that hard to find? Is that in the search?
surprisingly, there's a lot of opportunities for them to still play, but some better than others. So we'll see.
Just the general popularity of the game is so much larger than what's. Case in
Absolutely.
point, Keller, my oldest freshman down at Belmont in Nashville, he played club, played a little high school, loves the game. I mean, I think he would be a brilliant coach. In fact, he trains with Kenny Godat over at Gallagher when he's home in the off season. He went down to Belmont. Belmont is a D1 school, but within 2-3 weeks, he was part of a futsal club, and it's like it's everywhere right now, and especially like kids from St. Louis in particular, because I mean they all play.
Oh yeah.
So these options it's really cool because you get to kind of keep your finger in the mix. And
Well, and these kids, they know everybody everywhere. Social media, I guess maybe that's the good thing for them. They know everybody everywhere. So he's already talking, certain universities he's looking at, he already knows people that play on their club teams.
Yeah.
And they're loving it. So he
from his
options.
travel, like from his travel play,
Oh my
or
gosh!
how
From travel, some of the seniors that he played with at Vianney when he was a sophomore.
Oh, okay.
Other people, we don't play a single team in high school that Logan doesn't know the entire team, and all the boys are the same way.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the nice thing.
you know how to get under their skin when you know them.
Oh, truth. But that's the great thing about boys is that they leave all that on the field.
Like, yeah.
Girls, on the other hand, that's a totally different
And we'll take that to the
conversation.
next day.
Yeah. So he's got great friends from, all of the schools. So we were talking, like we just went and did a college visit on Monday, and he's like, oh yeah, well, so-and-so and so-and-so are thinking about coming here. And I'm like, how do you know that?
What
and
a
I
small
don't even
world.
ask the question anymore because, he knows it's stupid. I'm old, obviously.
She ends the sentence with "he's
Yeah,
stupid."
yeah.
So then you have a freshman daughter
I do.
who also plays.
Uh-huh.
And you guys walked her to the cliff, and she chose public over
She
private.
did.
Talk a little bit about that process. Was sport at the forefront? Was it in the middle? Was it in the back? Was it academics? Was it friends? Because this is a debate that so many families go through so often, especially when there's athletics involved, because that drives a lot of the decisions to go private for a lot of households. What did it look like in your household?
That was a tough one for Delaney, to
I
be
remember.
to be honest, because she knows the school that she was choosing, that she got accepted into, she knows rather well, because half that soccer team is at my house all the time. And the other part of that is the coaches are Logan's coaches from high school. So she knows what she's getting. And that was really, really tough. I think that was the hardest part for her, was letting go of not playing private. But for her, she's in honors classes where she is. She's got some set friends, one of them being my niece, who's the same age. And it was more, and as far as soccer, a little fearful of the unknown, because Coach Guns to a freshman is intimidating.
I'm scared of her.
Yeah,
Me
and
too.
Delaney's like, oh my God, I know I'm going to have to run a lot.
She's
with
got
her.
it. She's got it.
And
Yeah.
eat rice cakes.
Yeah. So she,
Don't be eating a bag of chips for your game,
No.
Dee.
oh, she's in for a rude awakening. So maybe I don't know if she made the right choice or not, but we'll see. But that was really, for her, it was more about, she wanted to be comfortable. She felt she can get out of her comfort zone, but she just in her gut felt that going public and the overall of what she was looking for in her experience was better for her. That she didn't feel that she needed the private school experience. And she sat down and wrote out her pros and cons. And soccer was the toughest part, because she's got a girlfriend, Ava, over at Nerix, that she would die to be back on a field with, but it just didn't make sense for her, and we supported her.
And that's hard too. To like I remember you guys going through the process. I
Yeah.
remember having a call with her once just to be a different person that wasn't mom, wasn't dad.
Yeah.
And we chatted through and made sure, was there anything else? And she was super. I think it's a reflection on you and Jim. She was super able to iterate, like, this is this, this is this, and this is what I'm struggling with, and talk through those things. And at the end of the day, know that the decision to go one or the other isn't the end of the world. Like, you can change.
Absolutely.
But that she was very strong, and I thought that was really awesome that she knew herself. Dee knows herself.
She does.
Because you want to be you've been sure as parents that this strong young lady, I know because I've coached her, knows herself, and then you every choice has a cost and a benefit, right? And
Yeah.
and Dee was very aware of what those were, and it was just a matter of finally making that choice. And I remember texting her afterwards and saying, it's like a week after she had done it. She's like, I think I'm good. Like, she'd made her choice to
Yeah.
go to Opa High School. And there was a few things she knew straight on she would miss, but she's like, but I think I'm good. And that must feel great as a parent to have them at a point, because one day they're going to have to do all those things themselves. I mean, they may call home, but and to raise somebody who's only 15, who's making what for her anyway is a really probably the biggest decision she's making on the day for her.
Yeah, and Logan really had a lot of influence for her, because she sees what a great experience he's had and the friends he's coming out with, because they're like, she's gained all these older brothers now through his friends. But she just didn't know if she was guaranteed to have the same experience going private.
Yeah.
And, and I told her, she's like, and, her biggest thing was, Mom, girls are not the same. And I'm like, no, they're not. But at the end of the day, you are. You are the same. So you're going to be fine with whatever you decide, but you don't change who you are to fit into another situation. If your gut is telling you that this is where you need to go, we support you 100%. And if halfway through it's not where you want to go, we support you 100%. So it's a win-win situation. But she That was probably the hardest. Was she saw the experiences that Logan's going through, just not quite being guaranteed that would be the same thing that she would get. And of course, she knows how great of a soccer program that the high school she was going to go to has, but she also kind of likes the fact that Coach Guns is a woman, and that's who she got that from somewhere, Jen.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I mean,
Somebody who made her run a lot.
for you as a competitive athlete yourself, and as a strong mom, strong woman, when you do look at Delaney's path and going to Oakville, knowing Coach Guns, kind of in the environment we're in, where the gender equity within sport is front and center.
Oh yeah.
Was that clicking in the back of your head when you saw her going through the checklist and you saw Coach Guns over there? Did that ever resonate with you from a gender perspective?
Well, listen, being a swimmer, I've been really far removed from the pool, but I still watch everything that goes on in women's sports. So for me, I want her to be strong in her decision making, but I also want her to know that as long as you fit the coaching style and you fit what you think works for you, that's your choice. So, and quite frankly, there aren't enough women coaching, and she's already doing some workouts and stuff with the coaching staff. And they're kicking her ass. I mean, and they don't care. And they're in her face. And I freaking love it, because that's what happened to me.
So female coaches, or like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're not
She's
any
like,
nicer.
Oh no. She came home and she was like, I had to do deadlifts. Have you ever done those? I was like, sister, you need to catch up.
We've done a few things.
Should have seen your dad on his birthday.
But yeah, I mean, to the point, there are times Marin's been coached by Bree McCarthy, and I have a picture of her somewhere. It's on my phone, of her crawling up the stairs after a workout with Bree. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you ever thought for a second you're going to get off easy because you have a woman coach, you are wrong.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think Delaney is getting a really good experience and and is going to have a really good perspective either way, because Dave Stover is her coach for club, and God love Dave for what he deals with those girls. I mean, I know some of the stuff that he hears from them all the time, and it just goes in one ear and out the other. I don't know how he does it, but she has a perspective from him, and then she's going to have a perspective from Coach Guns, and I think that just makes her a more rounded athlete. Whereas Logan's different. I don't know that it would be the same. It would be the same for him. So I like the fact, to be honest, that she's going to be working with female coaches, and we'll see how it goes.
You've talked a little bit before. We have talked a little bit before about being on the sidelines, right? And so it's a hard place to be. I mean, I remember for the longest time, I don't know, I feel like I've been coaching my kids since they were little, that I was on the one sideline, one way or shape or form, either assisting or being a head coach. And so you're on the one side and you kind of feel like you don't always know what's going on that parent sideline. Then you hear stuff and you're like, oh, geez, I didn't even know that was happening. I'm thinking of a particular incident at Sportport, if you recall. Yeah, go ahead and laugh, because I did not know what you parent sidelines were doing. I had zero idea that was happening. But being on the parent sideline, it's a hard place to be. It can be a hard place to be. It's a place of beauty when you watch, but also it can be crushing when things are going on. You don't know the plan. You don't know what's going on. You can see struggle. And, I think that there isn't a Mother's Day, for sure, and your birthday that doesn't go by without Jim posting a picture, usually from right behind you, of you watching one of your kids, or both of them maybe on the day play. Yeah. That, you've sat on, like you said, the games have been part of you. You've been on many sidelines, watching them play, in car rides home, in car rides to, the day after when maybe it doesn't go right. Wisdom from that, or what that's maybe taught you, that because you played as well, but when you sit as a parent, it's a different experience.
It is a different experience, but it's also a different time. So, when they're little, they're listening to their coach, sometimes not quite understanding what their coach is wanting from them. So it's a different conversation, when they're coming to make sure they're actually understanding what they're supposed to be doing on the field. But what I'm noticing more now, because they are older, is the conversation that we have when we are in a car together, or when we, when we're talking, when we get home and we're in our safe space at home, is how much they hear the parents.
Oh my God.
And it's almost sad. Like I literally had two of Logan's friends when we played a certain team during high school, and the parents were loud. And one parent in particular, which I didn't know until after we got home, started heckling my kid because he knows them.
See, that's what I don't like. I don't mind when it's general.
Right.
I don't like when it gets personal.
Right. And I didn't hear it because I wasn't over there. But I looked at him and he could see like my neck was getting red because it was that emotional, like, son of a. But he even said, he goes, Mom, listen, we all know what happens. They tailgate before they get here, and they look like jackasses on the fence line. I don't care. But that's what they deal with. So now I'm like,
and he's 17.
Right. But now I'm like, and then of course, Delaney gets in the car and she's like, oh my God.
She wanted to claw their
Dee
eyes
would have
out.
walked off the field and been like, listen here.
Oh no, did you hear that, Mom? Oh my God. If you ever did that, it's that kind of thing. But that's the point, is that it's not just what's happening on the field, it's watching how they are reacting to the whole environment.
How much responsibility should be borne on parents, just like ourselves, right? We get on a team, 18 kids, you've got 36 adults that are there to watch, in a perfect world. When your peer parent, not the opposing team, because that's a whole different thing. When you talk about another parent chirping at your kid or laughing at a play or claiming, throw them out, red card, whatever. I ignore that. I find that funny. What bugs me more, and I'm wondering what the two of you think, and if you think we should do more when the call comes from within the house. Rough game, a peer starts chirping at the ref. Is it our responsibility at this point, given how crazy sidelines are? Should we tap the shoulder and be like, hey, take it down a notch? How do you handle that? Because here's how I handle it. I walk away. Like I go to a far corner, usually at the beginning of the game, and stay there through the end of the game. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that? Mm-hmm. Because it's getting worse.
It is. So I'll go first real quick.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to forget. I absolutely, and I don't know how to do it, but just knowing the mindsets training that I do is largely with the team. I now have had a few sessions where maybe coaches have used that time to take the time off and they're not at the mindset training. I'm like, no, that's not allowed. You have to be a part of how we're setting this up, culture. I think parents absolutely have to be a part of that culture, right? We've been, Christy, you and I both have been on sidelines that are amazing, and we've been on sidelines where we're like, oh, geez, what is happening? I don't, like, you want to walk away, JB, like you said. I have made a promise to myself that if it's general, for me, if it's general chirping, like we're just generally not like, come on, whatever, like that's, I don't care. But when when it is personal, and I've experienced this before, and this was a few years ago, a different sideline, but a parent being upset that a player on the other team was roughing up his daughter and, pointing at who probably was at the time 13 years old and telling her she's a nasty player and she's a bull. And I'm like, she is 13. You are a grown man. And I regret the fact that I sat and kind of, like you said, removed myself. I wish I would have gone over and been like, greatest guy, by the way, on the earth. At that moment was not his greatest moment, would have tapped him and said, that's not acceptable here.
Yeah,
we have to own that part of who we want to be.
I think we need to self-regulate better, like within our own camps. Our friend parents that, for example, how many times, and I guarantee you know exactly what I'm talking about, you're sitting on your half of the field, right? And
don't come over on my half to watch your kid play in the end zone.
Well, no,
I hit you
again,
because I'm like, we just had that.
Where, your goalie's to your left, and at the far end of the field, you're trying to score on the far end of the field, right? how irritated do you get whenever your own boys or your own girls running down, ref calls and offsides? Now, we're at a 45-degree angle. How can we
I saw it
possibly?
perfectly.
There's no way they're offside. Like, it's that stuff. Like,
Or parents move.
we're not even cognizant of the absurdity of the complaint.
Yeah, or in parents move in Slica, at least there was a rule in
You had to
Slica
be-
that
you
you
have to be on your own
across
side.
from your own team, right? You're supposed to be sitting. It's not like a stadium where you go. You're supposed to be sitting across from your own team, and I don't mind. Like, I get it. Some parents come down and they want to see their kid. Grandparents come down, but then shut up. You're not even in your end, so shh. You don't be in my end, my
Yeah.
team's end, and with amongst our parents, and then start talking about the fact that my kid's a dipshit. He might be, but go in your own end and talk about that.
Well, the majority of the parents that are making the calls better than the referees are the majority of the ones that don't know anything about the sport.
Oh my God.
And it turns into like this gang mentality sometimes. And we're
I wish
we're
you could
guilty.
see JV's face right now is just like glossed over. Like,
just,
God,
like-
God.
I mean, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Yes.
Like, I can't stand it. I'm going to ask you another pet peeve question because I don't know, in a little pet peeve mood right now. You're at the complex.
the season.
Tis the season. It's Merry Christmas, everybody. Shut the hell up.
Okay, end this with the Grinch because we're gonna have to end it with the Grinch.
Game before you ends. Everybody's in their folder, rockers, the $7,000
move.
fold up. What's an appropriate amount of time that they're allowed to sit in the space before you take the line?
No, get up and move. Like, just go down to the end.
I'm with you.
I just want to sit
Okay,
down.
well, the worst part is when you're in Creve Coeur and there's only this much concrete
that
space
is
around
true,
a fence line, and now
'cause
you've
there's
got
a prison
everybody
fence.
lined up behind you.
because there's a prison fence
Oh, my
around.
They're
God.
lined up. Well, the last game I was out there, literally, they were lined up behind us 15 minutes before the game was over. I'm like, we are getting taken over. Like, they were standing there with their
Breathing
chairs,
down your neck.
with their chairs unfolded in the exact position of where they want to go, and I'm obviously standing in the way. And we still had at least 10, 12 minutes left of our game. And I was like, wow, this is getting, like, it's becoming a business.
Yeah, or extreme story, legit story where one of my kids was playing at Creve Coeur. So maybe it's Creve Coeur. I
It
don't
might
know.
be, I don't
Sorry,
know.
Creve Coeur. Nice complex.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Parents got in trouble, and it wasn't even the parents watching the game. It was the team behind. So a dad from the team that was coming in to play next. I think he knew people that run it, but he got into it with the referees to the point where the referee dismissed the entire parent sidelines. We're like, thanks a lot, you guys. It's not even your game. I hope you get dismissed from your sideline. But it's like it's not even your game. Wait, what do you do? Are you playing music?
Maybe. You guys keep talking.
He's grunchy. So
True story, Holiday Classic, I think it was last year that Delaney played.
the Veta one.
Yeah.
Okay.
A grandmother started a physical altercation with a mom on our team.
Who won?
I was, and actually, this is the first time I was like, damn it, why was I not closer to the action? Because I was trying to stay away from it.
But
and
over
I heard
what?
about it
Do you
after that.
know? Like, what is a call?
We won.
Oh, yeah.
It was a physical game, and I think we won. That's a bad part. There you go. See? Screw that.
Yeah.
People suck.
It's time. Time for the Grinch. I'm going to go get a refill. It's Christmas.
Has it been an hour?
Yes.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we fly through this stuff. Now we burnt 20 minutes talking about nonsense.
We
too.
did. Can I ask her one more question before parting question before
absolutely.
we go? Because you've said it before, and I think that how far you come, right? So your kids are nigh on young adults, right? You've seen it all from when they were 3, and either they sucked or they were amazing, and then they go through changes. Word of advice to parents that might be starting with their awesome 5-year-old right now and have stars in their eyes.
So the one thing I will say, watching my kids, is I don't parent my kids the way I thought I was going to parent my kids. And that is because circumstances change all the time. So my daughter was a runner when she was little.
Right.
She could run
Fast.
circles around anybody. She was fast. And then coming through puberty, she's stronger. She likes being in the backfield. There's things different. Logan looked like a baby giraffe half the time because he had size 12 feet when he was 10. So everything changes. And I think the only word of advice I can give parents is just enjoy your moments with where they are, because your athlete at 8 is not going to be your athlete at 10, and your athlete at 10 is not going to be your athlete at 15 or 16. And if you worry so much about getting them to the next level, getting them to the next club, getting them to the next whatever it is, you're missing out on the moments that your kids can really teach you what they need and how to parent them best through
You
a
said that
sport.
before. I think it's
And
something like your kids teach you how to parent them?
My children have taught me so much as a parent that, thank you, Logan and Delaney, because I feel like I'm a better human being for having them be the athletes that they are, and know that sometimes things don't have to be taken so seriously, but just enjoy the moments, listen to your kids. They'll tell you what they need, but they're not going to be, not every kid's an Olympian, and not every kid's going to love every sport you put them in. So just breathe.
Yeah.
Christie Jones Gabel, soccer player, taken care of by Jeff Cacciatore, swimmer, sore loser.
100%. As long as it's my brother, do not like losing to my brother.
Yeah. And when the game's over, get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Get your chair.
The chairs are already unfolded, waiting for you to move your asses along.
They you just pick them up now and they're like a transformer. Go.
Well, happy holidays,
Happy
you two.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Enjoy the rest of it. Jen, I will see you again.
See you in the new year.
Yeah, in the new year. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck on the college search.
Thanks.
And
I appreciate that.
Freshman
And Dee,
season.
good luck with Coach Guns.
Yeah, she's got spring season right around the corner.
Yeah,
You excited?
I am. I mean, it just means we've got one more stadium to sit in for a while, so I'll take it.
Well, that's a lot closer than Webster, too.
Yeah.
Backyard.
Very true.
All right, we're out of here. Thank you, Mellow Mushroom, for hosting. We're going to roll out with a little Grinch. Not because we're negative, but because it's a good song.
Yeah, that's right.
And Dr. Seuss rules. Bye, everybody. Catch you next time.
All their windows were dark. No one knew he was there. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the